each time I walk the changing path, I notice things that are changing externally, what's changing along this path. However, there's one big thing that changed recently internally, and I'm really chuffed about it. It still feels weird, but I'm really chuffed about it because it shows an area of growth in me, I think. And as I say, it feels weird. It doesn't exactly comply fully with my values, but it does show huge self-compassion, and sometimes that's more important. And it is in line with, if I look at my values and the potential this situation had or could have to hurt me and experiences from the past, then my actions do fit in completely with my values. I just have to remind myself that I am part of those values, as we all do sometimes. We all forget that, don't we? And forgive people for mistreating others. But if they mistreated somebody we loved, we wouldn't. And we must always remember that mistreatment of ourselves, whoever does it, whether it's ourselves who do it or other people, it still matters. So this little changing of dance steps was it's happened over the last few months, and I've written about it, kind of. I've written a short story, which I may or may not do something with, I don't know. But in a place I go to write, this older woman would come and sit in a seat near me or next to me over a period of weeks, face like thunder, and didn't speak, didn't say hello, didn't communicate, didn't anything, over a period of weeks, which I found really bizarre. And I'd want to turn and say hello, or are you alright, because there's lots of heavy sighs being emitted. And then, so nothing for months, for weeks. And then one day I got there and she was in one of the seats I normally had. And other seats were free. And she sort of gave me this look and she said, I'm in your favourite seat. And I was in a good mood that day. I just didn't think anything of it. And I said, oh, that's not my favourite one. My favourite one is the other end. I'm in my favourite one. It's free. I put my bag down and everything. And I didn't stick around to see if that changed the look on her face, because it didn't. I don't think it first registered at first why she could be saying such a thing. And then I went and got a drink, and I came back. I'd commented on the weather, I'd commented on where I'd walked from, and she commented a nasty comment about I'd got a cake. And as she said it, I thought, gosh, how bizarre. What a really bizarre comment to make to somebody you don't know, you've never spoken to. And all of a sudden you're going to comment on the fact that they've got a cake, implying that I should have just got the drink. And I said, oh yes, I said a coffee and a cake, lovely. And I carried on. And she went. And then a couple of days later, I think it was the same week, she came and she sat down, and she'd obviously deemed me somebody better to talk to. I was better in her standards because I'd mentioned the road that I live on, because I'd said I'd walk that way. And she'd obviously deemed me better than she thought. We were talking, and I said I was a writer, and I was there writing, and I come and write, and whatever. All the things, she could have been asking me about for the weeks that she sat next to me. And all of a sudden, she obviously decided, in her mind, I was worthy of talking to. And she started talking about her life, things she'd done, things that happened, all negative stuff. Slagging off her neighbours, her family, going off into detail, then saying about talking so much. And I said, oh, don't worry, sometimes we just need to get these things off our minds, out of our heads and off our minds. And she carried on talking, and she asked me a couple of things, or I just commented when there was space in what she was saying. And I don't know how long we were talking for, but I sort of just sat there. She commented on she's putting on weight and what have you. And again, it was only afterwards I was thinking, was she getting at me? Because she's sort of talking about how it looks and stuff, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. And then she said, near the end, oh, I didn't think much of you when I first saw you. And she said, and now we've been chatting, obviously I know all this, it's been really interesting getting to know you more and hearing more of your life. And in the moment I just said, oh, it's alright, we look at people and we never know who they are. So it's okay in terms of not knowing who I was. So in terms of not knowing who I was, obviously when she first had been sitting next to me. And it's interesting, isn't it, how we don't know anybody. And I said that, I said, oh, we don't know whoever's in this room, because in that cafe it would be many people she's probably dismissed and thought nothing of, and rated herself as higher and better. And I sort of let it go and sort of dismissed it like that. And she said, oh, I've enjoyed talking to you and getting to know you more. And afterwards I thought, well, you didn't really get to know me more, because all you did was complain. And the next time she came in, again she headed straight for the seat next to me, and I was mid-working, I was full on writing, and I carried on. I said hello, and are you alright? And I could see the side eye, and she started to express all these negative thoughts again, and I just carried on working. So I thought, well, when you arrived I was working. And she was chatting with the person next to her, and the person next to her must have dropped something, and she got napkins out and handed them over, making a point of, she'd made a mess. And I just thought, actually, I have no obligation to talk to you after having told me that when you first saw me you thought nothing of me. I have absolutely no obligation. I'm not obliged anyway, to be fair. There's no obligation at all to speak to anybody. And since then I've kind of just backed off. I've not rushed in. She's been sitting elsewhere in the cafe. I've passed her in the shop. And I've just thought, you've told me exactly what you think of me, or what you thought of me. It was only when you realised where I'd walked from and what job I did. Before then you were just willing to dismiss me as nothing. And I thought, I'm not obliged to speak to her either. I could have that same view of her. I don't, because I don't look at people that way, but it's funny, isn't it, how people think others should speak to them, they're better than them, so others should speak to them. And it feels a weird situation, because normally I would be at least greeting them and whatever, and feeling obliged, I think, normally to sit, and I'd be thinking, she's lonely, and I'd make excuses for that comment that she'd made, other than, well, actually she's just nasty and she's really negative about people. And I think because I've recently done work on narcissistic people and traits and realised who they are in my life, I've set up this new boundary of, no, I will protect myself. And I'm really chuffed, because I've changed my dance steps. And yes, it feels weird, or it felt weird at the start, but yesterday she came right next to me, I carried on reading, writing, nothing was said, and I felt no obligation. And she'd mentioned drink in the past, and whatever she drinks, alcohol, and then every time she made a statement, it was more and more and more. And then she said, but I've never driven after having a drink. And I thought, with all the things that you've just said, and then we treated it as something else, I do believe you have actually driven and drunk. And I thought, not being getting involved in that at all. So I've changed my dance steps, and I'm really chuffed with myself. I follow the Maya Angelou quote: always believe them. The first time they show you who they are, believe them. Because previously I've made so many excuses for people, or thought, oh, I can help, and I can, they just need someone to talk to, or they just need whatever. And I believed naively, and maybe for the wrong reasons too, that I can help them, I can change them, I can help them see the beauty in the world. And obviously I can't. And I should have learnt this many moons ago, because, I've been raised by that. And finally, aged 50, I've got it. I'm really chuffed with myself, so even though it feels very rude, but other people do this, don't they? They don't carry on any conversation with people. They don't bother. So there we go. I just wanted to record that and talk my way through it, just to see how it sounded out loud. I hope it helps you too.